Donald Trump took to Truth Social on Sunday morning to announce that a U.S. crypto reserve would help elevate the industry after years of what he called corrupt attacks by the Biden administration. He stated that his executive order on digital assets had directed the presidential working group to move forward with a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, SOL, and Cardano, ADA. He reaffirmed his commitment to making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, declaring, "We are making America great again." In a follow-up post, Trump clarified that Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum, ETH, would also play a key role in the reserve, adding, "I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum." The markets reacted swiftly, with Bitcoin surging over $10,000 in a single day, marking its largest ever green candle, and reaching $95,000. However, the rally was short-lived, as Bitcoin quickly retraced its gains, dropping even further last night and early this morning. Trump's post left many Bitcoin proponents frustrated, with some reacting in disbelief. Many argued that the sitting U.S. president seemed unaware of Bitcoin's unique status compared to other cryptocurrencies, and that it is the only asset that makes sense in a strategic reserve. Ironically, support for a Bitcoin-only stance began emerging from unexpected places, further fueling the debate. Peter Schiff, the legendary Bitcoin skeptic and staunch gold advocate, recently posted this on X. "I understand the rationale behind a Bitcoin reserve. I don't agree with it, but I get it. We already have a gold reserve. If Bitcoin is digital gold and supposedly better than analog gold, then sure, let's create a Bitcoin reserve too. But what's the rationale for an XRP reserve? Why on earth would we need that?" Even Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, often associated with the crypto casino industry, seemed to lean towards Bitcoin-only thinking. He posted, "excited to learn more. Still forming an opinion on asset allocation. But my current thinking is, 1. Just Bitcoin, probably the best option. It's the simplest and clearest successor to gold. 2. If people want more variety, they could consider a market cap-weighted index of crypto assets to stay unbiased. But option 1 is likely the easiest." Cameron Winklevoss, early Bitcoin investor and co-founder of the Gemini exchange, reinforced the necessity of a Bitcoin reserve, stating, "A strategic Bitcoin reserve isn't really a choice. It's a must. If you consider game theory and national security, it's as essential as stockpiling rare earth minerals, gold, or oil. Every country needs to secure these resources to enhance self-sufficiency and reduce dependency on adversaries. The sooner a country stockpiles, the better, both in terms of security and the price they pay. This is basic logic." Jeff Park of Bitwise, a leading crypto investment firm, made an even stronger case. "Listen, I represent a premier crypto firm that manages the world's largest index fund, and I'm telling you, Bitcoin should be the only strategic reserve asset. What more do you need to know?" When even major figures in the crypto industry start pushing a Bitcoin-only narrative, it's a clear sign that the broader crypto market has spiraled out of control. The unfortunate reality of Trump's post is that it appears to have been little more than a political favor, perhaps an attempt to boost the portfolios of market participants who heavily donated and lobbied for his campaign. It almost feels like he was nudged by insiders who needed a morale boost. The result? A classic case of Trump pump and dump. As Bitcoin and the broader crypto market swiftly erased all their gains from earlier this week, plunging as low as $81,000 this morning, Bitcoin has since rebounded slightly, now hovering around $88,000 at the time of recording. On the way up, the rally liquidated billions of dollars in leveraged short positions, while the sharp decline wiped out nearly $1 trillion in leveraged longs across the entire crypto industry. Regardless of where you stand on this unusual sequence of events, it's hard to ignore the troubling reality. We've reached a point in this failing fiat experiment where those in the highest positions of power are seemingly normalizing what looks like a classic pump-and-dump scenario. Beyond crypto, markets across the board are in the red, with the primary catalyst for this week's sell-off being Trump's newly imposed tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, which took effect today. Additionally, geopolitical tensions continue to rise as the Trump administration moves to cut funding for Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. So, what are Trump's long-term objectives, and what does all of this mean for Bitcoin? We'll dive deeper into that shortly. But first, Let's explore why so many prominent figures in the Bitcoin and crypto space are advocating for Bitcoin as the ultimate strategic reserve asset. And who better to explain why Bitcoin is unique than Michael Saylor, who appeared on CNBC this morning.
As this becomes more adopted, and if we're talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve or crypto reserve, how do you prevent insider trading, front running? There's no insider trading laws because they're not securities. So Trump can just tweet about X coin and someone can front run it.
The reason that there's so much support for a commodity like Bitcoin is it is an asset without an issuer. No entity controls it, no entity runs the network, no entity can change the protocol, no entity has enough power to impact the market trading of that protocol. That's actually why most of the focus is on the digital commodity. And that's what makes Bitcoin special. Satoshi was the insider. He left 1 million Bitcoin for all of humanity forever and walked away without ever benefiting. And that's what makes Bitcoin special.
Do you think that any other asset should be in the strategic crypto reserve?
I think if you're looking out over the next 100 years, trying to figure out how do you capitalize a nation state or a country, what you want is a digital commodity. But if you have a sovereign wealth fund, then I think it's well within the rights of the leader of the nation to decide to put, proprietary assets, securities, tokens, and the like into it. And of course, the decision will eventually be made through a fairly comprehensive political process over the next 6 months. We have till July 22nd when the digital assets framework and recommendations from the executive order are due on the president's desk. It should be interesting to watch what happens between now and then.
Bitcoin is the only digital asset that makes sense for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's only a matter of time before the Trump administration realizes this. They can either learn the hard way or take the smarter route by doing their research and ignoring the lobbying efforts of crypto industry donors like Ripple. Either way, Bitcoin remains unaffected by their decisions and will ultimately dominate any reserve simply because it is the superior asset. There is no second best. So, what is the Trump administration's economic endgame? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent appeared on Fox Business this morning to discuss their broad economic plans.
On the economic side, I think thus far one of the biggest wins for the American people is since Election Day and since inauguration, mortgage rates have come down dramatically. Both the level of the 10-year bond and the spread between the 10-year and mortgage rates, which I think is an effect of the bank deregulation we're going to do. I anticipate.
Does that affect credit cards too?
The interest rates will affect credit cards. It'll affect auto loans. And the bottom 50% of Americans over the past 2 years have gotten crushed by these high interest rates. So we're set on bringing interest rates down. And I think that's one of the great accomplishments so far.
Tariffs went into effect yesterday. China got 10% on all imports, Mexico 25%, Canada on 25%. That promise of tariffs had the market tank. Can you tell us what it's going to be like today? And what do you think this will do for the economy?
Look, I think over the medium term, which is what we're focused on, it's a focus on Main Street. Wall Street's done great. Wall Street can continue to do fine. But we have a focus on small business and the consumers. So we are going to rebalance the economy. We're going to bring manufacturing jobs home. We are going to continue the surge in small business confidence that was at a record level when President Trump came in. We're cutting red tape, we're cutting regulations, and we're going to get bank lending going again.
Bessent makes it clear. The Trump administration is fully committed to lowering interest rates, even if it means short-term pain in the stock market. Investors are slowly realizing that Trump is serious about disrupting the global economic and geopolitical order to rebalance the economy. The tariffs and deglobalization efforts are real, and the rules of the game are changing before our eyes. Global capital is scrambling to keep up. Trump's economic strategy could be one of controlled chaos, front-loading the pain, blaming past administrations, and using falling asset prices to gain leverage over key players who feel the squeeze. Then, as the election cycle approaches, expect a shift into pump mode, heading into late 2025 and 2026 before the midterms. In the short term, expect volatility. Gold's continued strength signals that scarce, neutral reserve assets are coming into focus. Meanwhile, much of the market still views Bitcoin as a risk-on asset, and that speculative capital is currently being drained, nature is healing. The fact remains. In an uncertain world, no asset is more certain than Bitcoin. It's the only asset with a finite, fixed supply, the only truly neutral asset, the only one with 24/7 liquidity, and the only one with zero counterparty risk. No amount of price volatility can change these fundamental characteristics, making it the ideal asset for the world we are moving into. This is exactly what Larry Fink was referring to back in January.
If you're frightened of your debasement of your currency, or you're frightened of your economic or political stability of your country, you could have an internationally based instrument called Bitcoin that will overcome those local fears.
What are your thoughts on Trump's pump and dump strategy? And what do you think his ultimate economic plan is? I'd love to hear your take, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share it with friends and family, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching.